Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief with me, Raleen Marks, where we take a look at the top stories making headlines in Israel. We do it every Monday to Thursday, and we do it in partnership with these guys, Lay of the Land. If you're new to us, welcome to it. You are part of a growing community from all around the world, from Montreal in Canada to Trinidad and Tobago, to Australia, South Africa, and everywhere in between. You're part of a growing family. Now, it is very hot in Israel, and I have my desk fan on, so if I look slightly windblown at times, it is because I'm getting a nice breeze going on. So today's Israel Brief is going to be a little different than usual. Instead of looking at four stories, we're going to focus specifically on President Trump's plan for a ceasefire and hostage release, which could see an end to the war. It is day 725. We are just literally a week away from the 2-year anniversary of the horrific attacks of the 7th of October, the worst attacks on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. And yesterday I shared with you that the QR code that Prime Minister Netanyahu wore on his lapel during his address at the United Nations on Friday is up on our website. That takes you to it's up on our Facebook page. It's up on my Facebook page as well. That takes you to the website that was created specifically for the case at the ICJ to show what happened on that day. It is not the 47-minute video that is under strict control of the IDF and is only shown really to journalists and to diplomats. But it is a reminder of what we went through that day. And on the 7th of October, 250 plus people were taken hostage, including babies and the elderly and whole families. We still have 48 hostages in captivity. We are approaching Yom Kippur, which starts tomorrow night and carries on until Thursday, until sunset on Thursday night. It is the second Yom Kippur that our beloved 48 universes will not be a part of. We will not have an Israel Brief on Thursday, but I ask you to pray with all your might. I know you are a spiritual community, Jewish, Christian, and different religions. I ask you to pray with all your might that we see our 48 hostages come home. And of course, we always acknowledge any suffering of the civilian population in Gaza. We don't want to see anybody suffering. So let's take a look at what was discussed in the White House yesterday. The Prime Minister is en route back to Israel. So what we do know is that Prime Minister Netanyahu, when we last spoke yesterday, was in the White House. They were going through President Trump's 21-point plan that he had shared with Arab leaders last week. And this will hopefully lead to the end of the war and the release of our hostages. Now, before that, the Prime Minister had to make a phone call to the Qatari Prime Minister Al Thani. Prime Minister Netanyahu apologized for the strike on Doha just earlier this month, which killed a Qatari national. According to some reports, Israel has offered to pay reparations to the family of that civilian. It was the strike, remember, intended to kill Hamas leaders, and unfortunately wasn't as successful as we hoped. Nevertheless, the Prime Minister apologized to his Qatari counterpart, and in the readout from the White House, they discussed how they want to move forward, that both countries have a mutual distrust, as well as mutual grievances against each other. They acknowledged that. In his apology, Prime Minister Netanyahu swore never to attack Qatar again, acknowledged the violation of sovereignty, but he also said, when they spoke about mutual grievances, he said, we do have a grievance with Al Jazeera, with the way we are portrayed on Al Jazeera, with your support of the Muslim Brotherhood, Now remember, Hamas is an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood is banned in many countries around the world. Kenya just banned them last week, and also the sponsorship of anti-Semitism on campus. So let's see how relations between these two countries progress. Then Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump gave a press conference to the press. President Trump lauded the Prime Minister, calling him a real warrior, saying he hasn't had a normal life. Like, how does he go back to a normal life? And also acknowledged that Israel had accepted his terms, the Arab leaders had accepted his terms. The onus is now on Hamas. And if Hamas do not accept the ceasefire, then Israel will have full American backing to finish the job. So let's go through those points. So the ceasefire process, let's take a look at how that will happen. Once Hamas and Israel have agreed to the ceasefire, the fighting immediately stops. Israel freezes its positions, and in order to enable logistics and monitoring, battle lines will remain fixed. Within 72 hours of Israel's public acceptance, all hostages, alive and deceased, are to be returned by Hamas. Now, Israel has already accepted this. So we are sitting now, it is now almost 24 hours later, we want our hostages back, all of them without exception. 250 Palestinian prisoners serving life sentences and approximately 1,700 Gazans detained after the October the 7th massacre will be released by Israel. Now, with regards to Hamas, they will have to choose between renouncing violence and disarming in exchange for amnesty or exile with safe passage. If Hamas do not agree to the plan, then Israel has Trump's full backing to finish the job militarily. Hamas will no longer be able to obstruct peace. Should a ceasefire begin and falter, Arab state building to replace Hamas would continue regardless, but in areas of Gaza that Israel controlled, while the fighting continued in others. Now we're looking at the issue of aid and reconstruction. Once the deal is agreed, aid will flow freely with international supervision. The Rafah crossing will reopen in both directions. Now, one of the clauses is they don't want the GHFN, who have been massively successful. This is probably a clause put forward by the Arab leaders, who have said that they want to go back to aid agencies and the UN mechanism. Let's see how that works. Reconstruction of critical infrastructure to start immediately. An economic plan with private and public funding would be initiated, including a special economic investment zone status. Governing Gaza. A Palestinian technocratic committee will be overseen by Trump's Board of Peace, providing a U.S. guarantee. The board will include Sir Tony Blair. The board will control funding until the Palestinian Authority reforms and assumes control. Now, there are some countries like Australia who, although lauding the peace plan, thought that this was the opportunity for the Palestinian Authority to come in and for a Palestinian state to be realized. Prime Minister Albanese, for the love of God, listen carefully and read a press release when it's put out. A temporary international stabilization force, the ISF, will secure Gaza's internal order and train Palestinian police. Gazans will undergo a program of de-radicalization and plans for interfaith dialogue, hugely important. With reform and continued peace, the plan states the conditions may finally be in place for a credible pathway to Palestinian self-determination and statehood. With regards to the West Bank, the plan implies that annexation and settlement of both Gaza and the West Bank is off the table. So let's read to you a little bit of what Prime Minister Netanyahu said yesterday at the press conference. He said, now the whole world, including the Arab and Muslim world, is pressuring Hamas to accept the terms that we created together with Trump to bring back all the hostages, the living and the dead, while the IDF stays in the majority of the Strip. Now, the Palestinian Authority has said it renews its joint commitment to work with the United States, regional states, and partners to end the war on Gaza through a comprehensive agreement that ensures the sufficient delivery of humanitarian aid to Gaza, the release of hostages and prisoners, the establishment of mechanisms to protect the Palestinian people. So, the plan has been accepted by the Arab world, by President Trump, by Prime Minister Netanyahu. Now we wait on Hamas. What I'm finding very interesting looking at social media today is the amount of all the people who called for ceasefires, who are demanding that Hamas do not accept this. Gee, could it be it was never about peace and ceasefires? I've noticed Hollywood, the music industry, all of them who have been advocating boycotts of Israel and accusing Israel of genocide and refusing to work with the Israelis are now conveniently stumm. The college campuses, the United Nations, all stumm. Food for thought. Hamas have said that the deal is completely biased in favor of Israel. So I just want to address this for the moment. You declared war on Israel when you invaded on October the 7th and committed those atrocities. You have been beaten militarily. This is not about negotiation with you. This is a term of surrender. You've been given the opportunity here to surrender as softly as possible. There is no negotiations now with you. This is it. If you don't accept it, the fighting continues and we will deal with you militarily, and you will seriously annoy the Arab leaders who have welcomed this and are pushing you to agree. Now, according to CBS, the American newscaster, they say Hamas is likely to consider this, and they're likely to give an answer tomorrow. Let's see. Now, the international community, of course, have welcomed it, including the countries like the United Kingdom, France, Canada, Australia. I just told you about Albanese. I was quite annoyed to see President Macron say the onus is on Israel now to act decisively. President Macron, Israel has acted decisively. We've accepted these terms. And it brings me to today's question of the day, and that comes from Dennis in Cape Town. And I thought this was the perfect way to sum up looking at this peace plan. Dennis says the international community want a ceasefire. Can those states that recognize the Palestinian state play any part? And the answer really to that is no. They have effectively removed themselves from the peace table by prematurely recognizing a Palestinian state and rewarding Hamas. The countries that are serious players, that are the big boys, that are the peacemakers, are the ones that we currently see here playing a part and who have accepted that this, if it goes according to plan, will provide a pathway, but does not create a Palestinian state. That's for you, Prime Minister Albanese. So that's where we are. Guys, hopefully tomorrow we will have positive news. In the meantime, we pray and we hope for an end to the war, and of course the return of all of our hostages and our soldiers safely home. So guys, that's it from me for today. There will be an Israel brief tomorrow, but a reminder, not on Thursday. And in the meantime, don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online, our Facebook page at Lottel's site. Our YouTube channel is right here at the Israel Brief. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers, so if you haven't hit that red subscribe button, please do so. We are on Substack at Raylene Marks, on LinkedIn at Raylene Marks, on Instagram at Raylene_Marks. I understand yesterday's broadcast did not upload there. I will check that out. And we are on X at Lay of the Land 5. So guys, God bless you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.